Hello, my most esteemed project managers. Wherever you might be in the world, it's a pleasure to be speaking to you, and sincere apologies for the late start. Sometimes technology has its way of reminding you that you're not really in control. Today was one of those days. Well, it's a pleasure to be speaking to you today because I know a lot of you have been working tirelessly on your PMP and you're now certified. And I'd like to say congratulations to those of you who are now PMPs. The main goal of today is to give you some guidelines, some specifics about what you can do now that you are a PMP. How to kill the game, how to crush the game, how to get to that next level. Lots of you, so many of you, and I want to thank you for those of you who have written in, those of you who have sent messages on YouTube, those of you who have told me you're now a PMP. Bravo. Bravo. It's the beginning. It's the beginning. I remember when I got certified back in 2005. I remember it like yesterday. In fact, I just celebrated my 19th PMP anniversary. So today, I want to share with you, those of you who might have lost hope, like, what is this thing? Why did I do this? Is there any hope for me? What is the future going to be? I can barely even find a job. Some of you are disillusioned, but I'm going to share with you today 21 steps that I have found invaluable in helping me kill the PMP game. Whether working for companies, Fortune 500s, whether in aerospace, in engineering, in healthcare, I'm going to share with you. But I want you to take note of the 21 things I'm going to show you. All right. I first of all want to apologize for not being more in touch. Okay. I should be more in touch. I should have more of these. I'm not making excuses. I'm just going to say I will do better. I will do better to check up on you and to ensure you are properly engaged, because I don't take it for granted that you are following me on social media. You don't have to, all right? You could be elsewhere. So I'm gonna make it good. Okay. I'm gonna try to do these with a higher level of frequency, better cadence to check in on you. So let me give you, if there's one tip I want you to take away from what I have to say today, it is be courageous. You got to have courage. You cannot afford to waffle. You cannot afford to say, why did I take this exam? Why did I take the steps I took? No, don't do that. The PMP exam is what you make of it. Okay? It's what you make of it. When you get certified, the PMI owes you nothing else. You took the exam, you passed the exam, they gave the exam to you, they said you're a PMP. Now it's your turn to prove to yourself and the world that they didn't make a mistake. Okay? You got to hit the ground running the very next day. I don't know why you took the PMP exam, but I took the exam because I needed to get out of where I was. It was drudgery. I hated the job. And, when it gets to the point that you hate the job, you need to get out quick. And I needed to get out quick. So I got certified. And let me share this with you. Let me share this with those of you who think the PMP will not get you in the door. That's a huge lie. The PMP will get you in the door, but you got to be courageous. You got to have the right mental state. You got to have the right attitude. The great Zig Ziglar, he says, it's your attitude that determines your altitude. You got to have the right attitude going into these jobs. Some of you are already scared before you hit the interview. Well, guess what? Your body language is going to give you away. You're going to fumble because your mind state is not right. So you got to be courageous. You got to have a can-do attitude. Hey, you got to understand that the PMI was not on drugs. The PMI was not on drugs when they gave you a PMP certification. You got to remember that. So when the PMI has bestowed on you the title of project management professional, you need to do everything to make it happen. You need to do everything to prove that indeed the PMI was not diluted when they said, yeah, you're the GOAT. You're the guy, you're the girl. We're going to give it to you. You are now certified. You are able to take on any project. You know what I hear some PMPs telling me? Well, I guess I can't take on technology projects. I'm like, what's the matter with you? There are people leading entire states and countries. They ain't been for training like you have on projects. All we're asking you to do is figure out a technical project. And you're scared of that? No, you need to do better. You need to understand that the PMP is you getting in the door, then prove that you have what it takes. All right, let's get rolling with it. I've got for you today 21 steps from my life, from my experience that I want to share with you to help elevate your game, to help get you to that next state. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to quit. So let's talk about section 1, deepening knowledge and skills. Okay. The moment you get out of PMP, don't be like those jokers who say, well, thank goodness I'm a PMP now. I don't need to do nothing except look for a job. No. This is the beginning of deepening your knowledge. You know what I did when I got out of the PMP exam? Want me to tell you what I did? I started studying earned value, scheduling, costing, risk, compulsively, like a junkie. And what did that do for me? It got me in the door of a company that absolutely changed my life, that revolutionized how I saw project management. That company's Honeywell. Before I got certified, I was banging on the door trying to get them to let me in. You know, when you've just got this feeling that that is the company for you. And those of you that have that feeling, that nudging about, hey, you need to be in this company, take it seriously. Take it seriously. I took it seriously. I got certified. I started studying. And then the opportunity came to interview at Honeywell. And what was the job? For those of you who don't think earned value means anything, it does. I got a job as an earned value consultant. What was my job? Understanding how to bring earned value into customer and product support, defense and space, by getting the understanding from the people in the engineering team and bringing it to customer and product support. That was my job. That's what I interviewed for. So, of course, I couldn't have gotten the job without knowledge. Huh? A lot of you doing the PMP exam as it is today. Hey, can I just be honest for a second? The exam as it is today is very different. It focuses on the more important parts of business and project management, but that isn't always what is apparent in an interview. You know what is apparent in an interview? Not only are they looking for the soft skills part, they're also looking for technical proficiency. So if you cannot convince the interviewer that you understand scope, you hear what I'm saying? Can you scope out a project robustly? Can you work with a team in not even working on a WBS, but that's a good thing to do. But how confident do you feel going into a project and effectively scoping it out? And I'm talking about 10 billion or 10 million. Let me not scare you. $10 million project. In my mind, the PMI have prepared you to study to do billions of dollars of project. But some of you are scared. The moment you hear millions, you're scared. And that shouldn't be the case, because all that you learn in the world of the PMP exam is scalable. You should be able to scale it up to the billions. You should. You know, it's very robust. I think I have to remind some of you of some of the books. Some of the books that some of y'all studied, you've forgotten. And I have to show you. I have to show you to remind you. So I know people were hating on the PMI when they came out with this thing, right? This thing right here. People were hating on the PMI. They were hating on them, saying it's unwieldy, it's big. But this is what helps you manage billions of dollars. You cannot manage billions of dollars with a feel good mindset of, oh, I'm just a great leader. No, you need leadership and you need management, project management. You need to be all over scope, all over schedule. Some of you, I would ask, can you build me a 2,000 line schedule for a very robust activity? You're scared of that. No, you need to go study that stuff. That's what I did. Remember, I'm telling you what I did, not what the book says, but what I did. I got really good in scheduling. I took my MCTS in Microsoft Project. I was all over Microsoft Project working on schedules, 20,000 lines long, 3,000 lines long. I got great with it and I wasn't scared or intimidated. But how did I get to that point? Is it by sitting on my hind end after PMP? No, it's by studying more, amping it up. So what am I saying? The trifecta, the bread and butter of the project manager: schedule, cost. Some of you, I ask you, okay, can you put together a budget for this $3 million project? And you feel intimidated. No, this is not the way a PMP should live. It's not. As a PMP, I expect that you can come in to an organization, take the troubled projects, whip them into shape, beat them into shape, and make things conform. Because whether you like it or not, there's a place for management in the world of leadership. There's a huge place for leadership in the world of management. But a lot of times, because of how the exam seems very principle and soft skills and leadership and communication focused, a lot of people are forgetting the other piece of the technicality. And that piece doesn't go away. It is important. And you know, the big dogs that have the jobs in a lot of these firms, not saying all of them, because some of them are just flying by the seat of their pants, but those who are really in it because they prove themselves, they can do all this stuff. Scheduling is not a big deal. Costing is not a big deal. Scoping out a project is not a big deal. A WBS, bring it on. Bring on any of the troubled projects. We'll help whip them into shape. There's been a silence about these things very recently, and I want to elevate your understanding that while you might be a great communicator, you're good with people, but when it comes to the technical piece, you can't even save yourself. Don't be that way. Don't be that way. All right, enough said. Let's jump into it. I think you understand the thesis of my talk today. So, the very first thing is deepen your knowledge and skills. You got to focus on key knowledge areas. When I say key knowledge areas, they're the ones I just spoke about, beyond the stakeholder and the communications, which are absolutely important. You got to understand the trifecta of schedule, of cost, and scope. Let's make this a little bit bigger so that you can see everything I'm talking about. So the trifecta of schedule, cost, and scope. I need you, my dear PMPs. I need you to ace this in life, not on the exam alone, but in life. I need you to beef up your understanding. Go back and read the PMI guides. The PMI has a guide for scheduling. The PMI has a guide for scope. Did you know that? The PMI has a guide that can help you with earned value. Read those things. Those jobs are there for a reason. They're jobs in government that need earned value, that need schedule, that need scope. And you know what I need you to do? I need you to go to the next level. I saw a chat from our friend Janae. Janae, thank you for your chat. Janae said, "Hi Phil, what did you use to study earned value apart from PMBOK?" Yes. So I was fortunate to run into the Defense Acquisition University online back in '05, and I just ate everything I found on DAU. I ate it up for lunch. I ate up every iota of the formulas. I understood how to put an earned value management system together. I was actually tested on that during my interview at Honeywell, and I brought it home because I'd done the homework on DAU. So Defense Acquisition University is definitely a good one to begin looking at. If you haven't looked at DAU, I want to encourage you to do that. Great repository. Back in the day, it was free. Thank you, Janae. Great question. All right. So schedule, cost, scope, really hone in on those. Okay. That will help you in any interview. And trust me, I've been for interviews where they ask very specific questions, almost PMI ish, because the people at the helm are either PMPs or PGMPs. You'll get a lot of jobs where they ask you about the technicality. You got to ensure proficiency in these critical areas. You got to get good and confident. Number two, continuous learning. The PMI say, we want you to get 60 PDUs. And you know what some of my friends do? They groan. Or they look for the easiest way out. And actually, PMI is just going above and beyond. They're trying to help you. You know, my buddy Lee Lambert, he said when he put this together, it was really to help PMP sustain the momentum. That was the whole idea. All right. So continuous learning is critical as a PMP. You want to dedicate months to further study even after the exam. You got to focus on your areas of weakness. You got to focus on emerging trends in project management. You know what I'm talking about. You know, one of the emerging trends in project management right now. You know, one of the emerging trends in project management is this thing we call AI. It's important. You know, AI is so important that I actually wrote this book for project managers. I call it Artificial Intelligence for Project Managers. Why did I write this book? I wrote the book because I understood that if project managers could harness the power of AI, they would greatly exceed their wildest dreams. They would greatly propel themselves into the future of efficiency and effectiveness. Because when you think about AI, what can it do for the non-project managers? Just think. What can AI do for a doctor? What can AI do for an engineer? A lot of things. It can help them build stuff. It can help them analyze data. It can do the same for project managers. You can analyze your data with AI. But what does the project manager spend 70 to 90% of the time doing? It's not a trick question. It's communication. So when you think of the fact that you can communicate more effectively with AI, let your imagination run wild. Just think about all the things you could do with communicating with AI. AI can help you check for biases in your email, in your communication before you send a message out. It can help you make it more empathetic. It can fact check you. So there are many things that are emerging trends in project management, and I encourage project managers to know more about that. You're most welcome, Janae. Thank you very much for the question. For those of you who have questions, just keep sending the questions in, and as soon as I'm able, I will take your question. So continuous learning in AI, I want to encourage that. I know that the PMI has some courses, they're free for those of you who are members, and I want to encourage you to look into AI, get good with AI. I also have a course on AI on Udemy. Check out my course on Udemy. I go into about 10 to 11 hours of artificial intelligence. I show you how to prompt engineer, you know, and these days, prompt engineering, for those of you who didn't get the memo, prompt engineering has changed. Did you know that? So I wrote a book called The RGB Prompt Engineering Model. And now, on top of that, I also want to encourage you to learn how to prompt engineer by your speech. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to show you that right now because I want you to get into it as soon as possible. I'm going to show you my way of prompt engineering. So, Bert, why don't you come on and let's speak to the good people? Want to say hello?
Hi, Bert. It's great to have you join us. Let's dive right into this. What aspect of prompting are you interested in discussing
Well, yeah, Bert, I want you to demonstrate to my listeners how you help me.
Sure thing. Bert, why don't you start by explaining the basics of prompt engineering? You can walk us through how to craft effective prompts for AI, including some examples to illustrate your points.
Well, beyond that, Bert, why don't we get into a discussion about how to save a failing project that's failing as a result of poor leadership? You want to give some tips?
Absolutely. Bert, let's start by identifying some common leadership issues that can cause a project to fail. Then we can discuss practical tips to turn things around. What do you think is the first step in addressing poor leadership in a failing project?
All right. Well, why don't you begin? Why don't you list out the top 5 reasons for failure in leadership on a project? All right. Well, I think you get the idea. There's a way you can prompt engineer that transcends typing in messages. You can actually communicate freely, real time with AI. So when I ask you to go to the next level and continuously learn, I'm talking about things like that. I'm also talking about things like specializing in risk management. So, in the world of risk management, not only do you have the planning aspects, you have the analysis aspect, qualitative, quantitative, and things like that. I want to challenge you to, if you have enough experience, why don't you go get an RMP? I think it would help a lot of you to hone in on risk management in a more professional way, especially if you have the experience. What about earning additional certifications? As I mentioned, the RMP and the SP. Perhaps this is something you can add to your certifications to enhance your credibility and skills. I got RMP and SP certified in 2010. It was a great addition to the list of certifications I have. What about Agile? Maybe you should consider going for the ACP exam. The ACP exam, it will greatly help you not only show proficiency, but truly firm up your agile understanding, right? Especially if you go for training through a tested and tried solution, such as the one we provide. We'll probably have ACP training coming up soon. Just had our most recent 3 ACP people get certified. So a huge shout out to Esther and April and Delita who recently got certified. But if you want to join the ranks of ACP and come through our training, just be in touch. You can send an email to info@praizion.com. And when we have that available, we will definitely let you know. But the thing about Agile is it is now mainstream. So it is not a choice anymore. It is like mandatory in my mind for every PMP to know enough about Agile. But beyond the PMP exam, you actually need to be proficient in the basics, the manifesto values and principles. You should be able to train, coach, and mentor an entire organization. That's how I see the PMP. I see you as being a professional that can do these things. I see you as being a professional that can teach, coach, and mentor organizations in Scrum, in Kanban, at least to get them on that way forward without doing things the wrong way. Let's move into section 2. This one can be a little bit of a challenge if you haven't already given it thought. But let me challenge you as a PMP. What is your purpose? What are you about? What are you looking to achieve in the grand scheme of things? Have you thought of your purpose? Have you considered your purpose? Think about it for a second. What is your definite chief aim? The great Napoleon Hill, he will call it a definite chief aim. But what is your definite chief aim? Do you know it? Have you thought of it? You want to give it some time. So let me share with you my definite chief aim. My definite chief aim is to work with people to help them become the best version of themselves in any field or sphere in life, whether it's mentoring, coaching, training, and not just in project management, not just in leadership, but any way possible. But my specialisms are leadership, project management, and music. Any way I can add to people, I want to. And you know what the great John Maxwell says? My mentor, he says, everything rises and falls on leadership. So if I'm able to equip you with leadership, then I'm able to equip you for life in any sphere. And that's what I'm about. But what are you about? What is your definite chief aim? Do you have one? So, step number 2 to being successful is to know your purpose in life. You got to know your purpose in life. If you haven't given it thought, think about it. So identify your purpose as a project manager. What is your purpose? What is your role in the organization? Do you see yourself as just someone who is milling the corn, someone a cog in the wheel? Is that your idea of your purpose? Or do you have a higher level understanding of your purpose in the firm? Some people make the mistake of thinking their job title defines their purpose. It does not. It does not. Your purpose is defined by you. What is your burning passion? What is your burning desire? As you're sitting there in the firm, in that seat of responsibility, what's your goal? What's your definite chief aim? What do you want to be remembered by in that firm? What are you about? What do you want to achieve? You got to define it. And then you got to align your goals with the company's mission. If you are in a firm, just like I told you in the very beginning, I was in a firm that I did not like. I hated the job. It was nice in the beginning, but after a while, I couldn't stand it for many reasons. And I'm not being ungrateful. I was glad I had a job, but I just couldn't take it. The marginalization, the not wanting me to take the PMP exam and wanting me to just stay in the same position, status quo. I couldn't take it. And that's why I left. And I left because I knew my purpose. My purpose did not align with what my boss was trying to get me to do, which is be status quo. You know, in the UK, we say be the dog's buddy. I wasn't ready to be the dog's buddy. I said, no, I've had enough. So I left and I got 300% more money. Did you hear what I said? I said I got 300% more money. From getting in the 40s, I went to getting in the 150s in a matter of weeks after my PMP. Think about that for a second. 300% increase. But I didn't get it by loafing around. I knew my stuff. I knew my stuff. Not only did I study for the PMP, as Janae was asking, I studied a lot more, a whole lot more. And I want to challenge you. If you are a PMP and you feel the game is not working for you, I want you to become a beast. I want you to beast up, and I want you to get insanely great in project management. Not just on the PMP exam. You know, a lot of people say, well, I got AT. Well, I don't mean jack. In the real world, no one cares about AT. You know what people care about? What can you do for me? What can you do for the organization? Can you make this project happen? And then I have on the opposite side, the people in lament. I got BT, Phil. I know I passed. I got target below target. Oh, be quiet. Are you a PMP? What are you crying about? Because you got below target? That's not what counts. It's what you do in the real world after PMP. But you got to beast up. You know what? A lot of these jokes who, you know, a lot of them, they don't value PMP as much, but they're certified. You know, some of them raving and ranting how quick it took them to get certified. You know, the first thing they do? Garbage can. This goes in the garbage. The moment they get certified, they're like, I'm done. Praises. And it's just the bad attitude, because it should really be the beginning. It's the beginning. You shouldn't throw away your PMBOK guides. You know, when I look in my library up here, I have PMBOK guides. Let me show you the PMBOK guide I studied. It's here. This is the PMBOK guide I studied. This is a second edition. I still have my second edition, right? I still have my PMBOK fourth edition. It's here. I have my fourth edition. Look at that. I have my fourth edition. It looks even newer than my sixth edition. I have my fifth edition. This is my fifth edition right here. I still have it, you know? So I don't take these things lightly. You know, when you get certified, for the jokers who are like, oh, just throw it away, throw it on the throw it in the garbage can. Don't do that. Don't do that. You should keep studying. You could keep studying. All right. Janae says, wow, Phil, I was wondering if project managers will still be required. Oh, absolutely. It's not going away. You see, it's like, I want you to go read up the story of Theodore Judah, who was a type of project manager. In my mind, I consider him a project manager, but he was a project manager of the Continental Railroad project, the railroad that was built early day America's. Theodore Judah. It was impeccable project management that helped him pull it off. When you look at his early day plans, you see plans for resources, plans for schedule, plans for costing. That was a project manager. Talk about way back. So project managers, they'll never go away. They'll never go away. They've always been around, maybe defined as something else. They'll continue to be there. Janae says, music, what instruments do I play? I play a number of instruments. I'm actually a music producer. If you look hard enough for my work online, you see my work on Spotify. I have 4 albums, about 20 singles. So how did I learn great project management? I actually started off as a producer in the music studio, because I would take my artists to the studio and have everything arranged and all the paperwork. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know that was project management, but I eventually realized that it was project management. Yes. So if you look for my music online on Spotify under Phil C, you will find my music online. Music is like the lifeblood of what I do. It's the therapy that keeps me going. All right, let's go to number 7. Grow to your maximum potential. Never stop learning and growing. You got to embrace a mindset of continuous improvement. You got to continually improve. You got to continually grow. Okay, but it needs to be a mindset. For those of you who are really keen on growing, I want to introduce you to an initiative that I have. And you can find this initiative at leadershipavenue.com. It's a program for life after the PMP exam, because I realize PMP is never enough. PMP is not enough. You got to go beyond PMP. You got to go beyond PMP by studying, by developing, by growing, and by learning leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Have you guys ever watched The Founder, that movie about the McDonald's brothers? You remember Ray Kroc and the story about Ray Kroc? What can you say about Ray Kroc? He was actually a leader who knew what to do. He was selling milkshake machines and he wanted to sell more milkshake machines. And he knew that if he was able to increase the number of franchises that the McDonald's brothers had, he could sell more milkshake machines. So as a result of his ambition, he ended up buying them out. he didn't set out to do this. He just wanted to sell milkshake machines. But he was so ambitious that he ended up having more and more franchises so he could sell his milkshake machines. He ended up taking over the entire corporation. But it was leadership. Let me ask you, if I gave your skills, your talents, and your abilities to a second party, would they be able to do a better job than you? The question is, how well are you doing as the CEO of You Incorporated? Are you doing a great job? Are you doing everything under the sun to succeed? Some of you ain't. Some of you are on LinkedIn in plain sight and you're saying, I don't want people to know I don't have a job, so I'm not going to put open for work. Seriously? How is that being a good CEO? That's a crummy CEO. You know, to be a real success, you got to network with people. You got to communicate with people. You know what the Stanford Research Institute showed in a survey way back? It showed that success in life was 87.5% contingent on the people that you were connected with. People related is all about how you relate with people. Relationships. 12.5% contingent on knowledge, certifications, technical prowess. And I'm a living witness to that. How did I get to where I am today? Training, coaching, and equipping people in project management. It was as a result of one awesome individual. One person who said, Phil, I think you would make a great PMP. Her name is Mary Hirschner. Those of you on LinkedIn, look up Mary Hirschner. She's connected to me. Mary's retired now, but Mary said, you make a great PMP. I'm like, how do I become it? Because of Mary, we are here having this conversation. Send some love for Mary. If you're on LinkedIn, just tag her, say thank you for showing Phil the way. Go ahead and tell Mary that, because without Mary, I would not be where I am today. Not only did Mary show me the way to PMP, the other awesome thing that resulted as a result of Mary's relationship with your buddy Phil as a coworker. She said, Phil, there's a company looking for a trainer in PMP. I think you'll be a great person. I know this guy from a previous employment. He's now in a company called Thompson NetG. I think you'll be a great fit. What did she do? She connected with Mike. I went for the interview. I was selected to be a trainer. I ended up training, coaching, and equipping people, helping them while at Thompson NetG. Thompson NetG was bought by Skillsoft. And that's where I met my co-trainer, who you've seen on other videos, Emily. And as a result of Mary's introducing me to NetG and getting into Skillsoft, I was then inspired to train more. And I met some other awesome people like Tom and Dan at Skillsoft who kept asking me to come back and speak and develop stuff. And I was bitten by the bug of helping people with PMP, like fully bitten by it. Talk about Peter Parker. I was bitten by the radioactive spider because of Skillsoft. So I want to give a huge shout out to Tom Warwick and Dan and all those people at Skillsoft. Because of you guys, I'm where I am today. But most of all, a huge shout out to Mary. So for those of you who are not into networking and relationship building, I want you to do it. It will help you. Don't hide under the sofa, under the rug. No, I don't want people to know that I don't have a job. No, connect wisely. Network. All right. Our friend Obatare Blessing says, as one transitioning into project management, one just feels PM is wide. Yes. Yeah, it's wide. You know the truth about that statement? Should I tell you, you really want to hear the truth? If you're still on a battery, I want you to type in and tell me, yes, I want to know the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. If you let me know you're still on, I'll let you know the truth. But you got to have relationships. You got to build relationships in project management. One of the things I tell my people is when you come on my program, it's not just coming on the program for the duration of the program. You have an ally for life. I'll go to war for you. But I got to know that you are really serious and you want to expand and you want to grow. Oh, Battery's on and says, please tell the truth. All right, watch this. Here's the truth. You said that the world of project management feels wide. You know what happens the deeper you get into the world? It gets wider. It gets wider. The world of project management does not get smaller. It only gets bigger and bigger and better if you're true to the craft. I thought project management was, PMP. And then I started unwrapping it like an onion. You know what I discovered? The PMP is just the beginning. There are many facets. And that's why I got a number of other certifications like the OPM3, like the RMP, like the SP, like the ACP, like the PSM, like the CSM, like the PSPO, and I could go on and on. Very recently, I went further into Ken Schwaber's company, the co-creator of Scrum. Because some people say, well, that's agile, it's not project management. What is project management? Project management is the application of knowledge. You need Scrum knowledge. You need agile awareness. You need to understand the values and the principles. So I studied more with Ken Schwaber's company by taking a lot of his certifications. It's for a reason. I had to grow. The other options in scaling agile were very poor. And I wanted to know from the GOAT, what does he think? And that's why I went ahead and I took the SPS certification. I studied for many months. But what I'm trying to tell you is that the more you get into project management, the more you have to grow, because project management is not stagnant. It is emergent. It is always changing. I just shared with you my book on artificial intelligence. There's a reason I wrote the book, because I understood that things were changing. The way project managers communicate, the way they could communicate, it's all changing. And you know what's going to happen in the future? The project managers that stand the test of time are the ones that move with the tide. But it's a very good observation. And I'm glad that you've discovered that it is indeed wider. Yes, I know it sounds funny, but the more you get into project management, the more you realize that it's wider. It's wider than just PMP. Anyone who is thinking PMP is the be all end all, they're wrong. It's the beginning. You know what you need to do to amplify your efforts as a project manager? You got to get great with leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Study leadership, become a student of it. I want you to go to my mentor's webpage. It's free, okay? And it's called Minute with Maxwell. John Maxwell has a free program where daily, you can get mentoring and coaching in leadership. It's just a nugget a day, but it goes a long way, a long way, a long way. Thank you to my friends on Instagram. I see you. I see you. My friend Semacha says, I want to be your agent in Saudi Arabia in my institute. Well, thank you. I appreciate the love. My friends on LinkedIn who are watching, I appreciate you as well. Let me go ahead and send you this link. Hopefully, this link will go to many of you. It's Minute with Maxwell, because I believe that if you can study leadership, the game will change. The more leadership you study, the better off you're going to be. But you got to be on it on a daily basis, studying leadership, reading leadership, applying leadership, mentoring others in the leadership that you've learned. One of the books that I immediately recommend to you, and I'll give you a few books because I know some of you are really looking to grow to the next level. I want to recommend that you pick up the 360-degree leader. There's a book and there's a workbook. This is the workbook. We're still in the process of going through this in my Leadership Institute. For those of you who don't know, I have a Leadership Institute with a bunch of awesome PMPs. It's called Project Leadership Institute. And we meet on Thursdays in one of the groups. We meet on Saturdays in another. We've been studying this for the past 6 months. All right. Also, another book I want to recommend to you, those of you who I may not have interacted with you in a while. If you're in a leadership role, I want you to get this book by my mentor, John Maxwell. It's called The 5 Levels of Leadership. And I know some of you already know this because I wrote about this in my immersion book, right? So John's 5 levels of leadership, so profound, so good. If you are in middle leadership, if you're in top leadership, wherever you are, CIO, CEO, CTO, whatever, whichever of the C's or VP, director, you need it. If you're in the middle, you need it. If you're at the bottom of the organization, you need it. You need it. You need the 5 levels of leadership. Really great book. It will show you how to climb the ladder of leadership. Talks about position and then goes into permission and goes into production. And great book. You definitely want to know that, how to navigate the leadership ladder. Because you do know that leadership is all about influence. The true measure of leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. And John says, he who thinks he leads but has no one following him is only taking a walk. Now, some of you that might be in the middle or at the bottom, theoretically, you may not understand, but leadership is about influence. And you can influence. You can learn how to influence. So these 2 books, first of all, this one, I would recommend reading this first. And then The 5 Levels of Leadership. This is another great book that I would recommend to you to read. Okay. So when I talk about development, as our friend rightfully said, oh, you're most welcome. It's a pleasure. Anyone else who's got questions, just keep the questions coming and I will answer the questions as expediently as I can. But one of the things I really would love to see from you, my friends who are watching, I want you to grow to your maximum potential, right? And it's just take no prisoners. Since I started this journey, I've been very fortunate to learn from some awesome individuals. I recently put together a seminar with Roy Schilling. Roy Schilling is actually my coach in Agile. And together we wrote the book that you see over here, this book called PMP Exam Immersion. We also wrote this book together, which is called Agile Principle Run and Cut. And we have a lot of these seminars together. Roy was also one of my trainers on this seminar that we had for change management leadership. And he was also my guest speaker on this seminar, right? Dixiv, which is about problem solving. And he was also on this seminar, incidentally, Scrum Mastery. So my buddy Roy, he's been my trainer and coach in Agile. And why am I saying this? Because a lot of folks think that they can learn without being like an apprentice. You got to put yourself in the position of an apprentice and learn. And that's what I did with Roy. That's what I've done with John. John has been my leadership guest speaker on the Project Leadership Institute. He was our keynote speaker when we opened, but I've been religiously following the work of John. I've been religiously following the words of my buddy Roy, and we've written books together. I've been also religiously following the work of Rick Brinkman. He wrote the book Dealing with People You Can't Stand. Great book. For those of you who may have hang-ups on people who are difficult, you go look for Rick's book on dealing with people you can't stand. And Dr. Rick has been back on a couple of occasions to teach us dealing with meetings you can't stand and dealing with people you can't stand. And you can find those lectures on leadershipstreet.com. Believe we have one or both of them of Dr. Rick's talk to us. So the sky is the limit for growth, my friends. You got to keep growing. You got to keep improving as a project manager. Number 9, I skipped one. Which one did I skip? Let me see which one I skipped. Excuse my manners. I think I skipped one in my rush. Let's go back and see. I skipped. Okay. So let me go a step back. I'm sorry about that. Because this one is important. Number 8, study and apply Agile principles. So incorporate Agile methods into your projects, train, coach, and mentor others in Agile, and you're going to learn a ton. From coaching, you are going to learn, you're going to find your gaps. Like I had a ton of gaps, and mind you, I was already certified as a CSM, but I learned that there was a lot that I had gotten wrong. Misconceptions in Agile, misconceptions in Scrum, misconceptions in Kanban. But these came to light when I started being a good student. I often joke, I've been in the school of Roy, my buddy. I've been studying with him since 2014, but I only became a serious student about 5 years ago. You ever been a bad student who's not really listening? Or you have the bad students who are they're supposedly listening, but they're not practicing. And I was one of those. I was just not a good student. But I became more serious. And I'm talking about, hey, I was CSM certified, I was ACP, but I became hungry. You know, the great Les Brown, he says, you got to be hungry. If you're not hungry, you ain't making no difference. I had to be hungry. And I got really hungry for Agile. I got hungry to know more. And my growth, Roy will attest to it. It was astronomical because all I did was eat, drink, breathe, Agile, the values, the principles, the values, the principles, the values, the principles, the principles, the values, until I became so obsessed they had stuck that I didn't even need to open a book to tell you what the values were. I didn't. So I want you to take Agile very seriously because it's now mainstream. It is not enough for you to say, I'm a PMP. You got to be a PMP with great Agile awareness. Note, I didn't even talk about the frameworks. Agile awareness. Know the values and what they mean. Live the values. Know the principles. Live the values and the principles. Apply them. Number 9, stay current with industry trends. AI is a huge one. I told you to go look for those PMI micro certifications. The PMI is doing their best. Okay? They're trying to help you. And that's why I want you to take it seriously, because if you're able to be all over AI, the future is bright. But if you're AI inept, if you're one of those people like I don't think AI can be trusted, I'm sorry. You're going to be in the dark ages in a few years. You better get on the paddy wagon, learn about AI, stop prompt engineering, understand how to give good prompts, written prompts, speech prompts, and understand the technologies. You know, on YouTube, I have a channel. It's called the Project Leadership Institute channel. It's free. I know some of you have joined, but some of you haven't. It's free. Go join the Project Leadership Institute channel. Let me see if I can bring it up for those of you who haven't joined. And like I said, I apologize for not being more on your schedule, but I'm going to send you my other YouTube page. And I know this is going to help those of you who are looking to grow and you're looking for sources to grow, right? That's a good one right there. Yep, that's it right there. So going down to at Project Leadership Institute, my friends on Instagram, I want you to do the same. Hi, Delita, good to see you. Thank you for joining on Instagram. I just saw you. I gave you a shout out a few moments ago for your ACP. I don't know if you heard. But anyway, good to see you, Delita. Delita is one of the smart ones who joined the program. You see the ticker tape below. Delita joined that program, right? The leadershipavenue.com, life after the PMP exam. And she got her ACP, you know. After that, she was fired up. And April as well joined the program. They both got really fired up, and they're part of the Praizion family who are doing awesome things. All right, let's move on to number 10. Join professional organizations. So participate in organizations like PMI, network, go to your PMI chapter meetings, do all that good stuff. You know, some folks may not have remotely joined their PMI chapter. And I'll just say this, you know, the PMI chapter, it's really more like the rites of passage, because if you haven't been to a PMI chapter meeting since you've been a PMP, it makes me a little bit concerned, you know, like, why not? It's like you belong to a family, but you don't know the family members. You got to go to a PMI chapter. You got to at least try it, right? Try it at least once. Try it at least once. And then beyond going just for the chapter meeting, you know what I want you to do? I actually want you to give back, like volunteer. How about you volunteer for some months? Just it's good. It's good karma, for lack of a better word. It's good because as you're giving back, you're going to receive. It's that simple. So for my chapter, I have visited my chapter a number of times. I have been a keynote speaker a number of times in the meetings in all of the branches of the Phoenix chapter, the Scottsdale, the Phoenix, even the Mesa chapter. And you can actually watch some of the videos. I have some of the videos on YouTube of when I visited my chapter to speak. So if you haven't done that, I want to encourage you to. I think it will go a really long way in getting you more into the family. It's a family. You got to understand that. PMI family. All right, so let's move on. So join in professional organizations, networking. A lot of people, you know, I know someone who found employment as a result, not just one person, number of people, as a result of being in their PMI chapter. All right, number 3, mentoring and coaching. You got to mentor and coach others. chatting to me, are you mentoring and coaching someone as a PMP? If you are a PMP, the question is for you. The question isn't even, are you coaching someone? No, 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 no. The question is, who are you coaching? Who are you coaching? Don't tell me no one. You got to be coaching, mentoring, or equipping someone. Because if you're not growing as quick as you could. You're not. And this is why a lot of you end up forgetting what you studied. I ask some of you, okay, just give me 5 process names, and you're grasping at straws because you've forgotten. Why did you forget? Because you're not mentoring and coaching someone. You don't have to be a full-time PMP coach, but you should at least in your firm. Like when I was at Honeywell, a lot of my colleagues, they were failing the exam, and this management's shelling out $500 a pop for these people, and they're failing. And I go to my manager and I say, you know what, Jim, I think I can help these people. I got certified about a year ago. It's still fresh. I'm all over this stuff. Why don't I have bi-weekly sessions to help them? And he said, all right, let me go check with Mark, my boss. He goes, checks with his boss, and his boss is a PMP as well and likes the idea and says, people like food. Let's throw in some pizzas. And then we did. And people would show up for these bi-weekly sessions. I ended up being instrumental in 50 of my colleagues. Mind you, this is before I went fully into training. This was like 5 years before I went fully into training. Got my colleagues certified, helped them, added value to them. You know what I want you to do? The same. I challenge you. If you're not a scaredy cat, how about asking your boss, can I have a lunch and learn to equip people in project management? I'm not even saying train PMP exam, but just share what you know. Or don't you know anything? Yeah, you know a lot. You know a lot. Why are you sitting on what you know? Why are you being selfish with what you know? The funny thing, some people are like, I don't want people to know how I did it because then they'll be at my level. Seriously, come on now. That's not you. That's not anyone listening to me right now. It's the other people, right? It's not you. But I know some people are like that. I know some people are like that. Oh, my friend Simba, thank you very much. I appreciate you as well. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because I know you folks have a lot to share, and you should. Because if you don't share, you know what you're being? You're being a reservoir. You got to be a river. What does a river do? A river allows the current to flow through it. You got to be a river. That's a huge way you can grow. Do you know all the growth that happened to me as a result of the bi-weekly sessions I did at Honeywell? It gave me confidence to move into the higher levels that I just talked about. I talked about Skillsoft, NetG, and then Skillsoft. So Thompson NetG, little did I know that the good work I was doing at Honeywell was going to be a precursor to getting into NetG and being able to speak and train confidently. How do you think confidence is built? It's by doing. How do you think I got good at training PMP? By hiding under the bushel? No, it's by speaking on a regular basis about what I know. It's about giving. The quickest way to get good with speaking? Forget about you. It ain't about you. It's about the people that are hungrily waiting. I think a lot of you underestimate your PMP. That's also a problem. You're underestimating the PMP. It's nothing. Oh my goodness. Really? You fail to realize how insanely awesome you are by staying in that, in some cases, dim lit, dingy, musty room for almost 4 hours. Some of you have been in that crazy room for 12 hours. You took the ridiculous thing 3 times. You took the PMP exam 4 times. Some of you, I know someone who took that ridiculous test, and I'm not bashing the PMP. I'm just saying it annoys me when I hear about poor victims. I call them victims. They were in that jail cell 8 times. This is not myth. This is someone I know on the 8th try. Think about that. That's 32 hours in that crazy room. And this is even before you could take it at home. So, maximum respect to anyone that's a PMP. I think you're underestimating yourself. I think that's part of the problem. I think you've forgotten the blood, sweat, and tears. I think you have. Because if you hadn't, you'd know that you're a beast. You're a force of nature. It's up to you to realize it. You could stay, little old me, what do I know? The reason why you feel little old me is you're not really realizing, you've not done your retrospective. So I was one of the smart ones who did the retrospective in the exam hall. In the exam hall. I did my retrospective in the exam because I'd spent 1 hour and I'd only done 20 questions. And I said, Phil, you're gonna fail, you're gonna flunk this exam. And then all of a sudden I heard a gremlin on my shoulder saying, the PMI is just giving you harder questions because they know you failed that one, they're giving you another. Now that was a conspiracy theorist gremlin, but it did help me. Even though it's all fake, that's not how the exam is, because I later became a registered education provider and I realized, no, that's not how PMI administers the exam. The exam isn't as intelligent as you think on the front end. Now, the data analytics is extremely intelligent because that's how they're able to find out people who've been naughty. I'm not saying it's always accurate, but I'm just saying this was way back. But when I had that thought, I started thinking, having flashbacks. Have you ever had flashbacks of your PMP prep time? Like, talk about a jail cell. I will go to my library every Saturday for like 5 to 8 hours, and I just locked up. Talk about being in a fort somewhere. And I would study. I showed you the book that I studied, and I would study and study and study my brains out. And I think some of you forgotten the work you put in, because if you didn't forget, you would look at yourself and say, yeah, I've got something to give the world. I want to challenge those of you who are listening to me right now. I want you to go start a social media account on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You know what I want you to do? I want you to share your PMP exam journey. One video. Can I depend on you to do that? Can I? I know I can. Do you know what it's going to do for you? It's going to take you back down memory lane for you to realize all the work that you did towards this certification. Now, those joining that are not PMPs, they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand the work that you and I put in. But the work that you and I put in should not go to naught. You should resurrect that work and teach, coach, mentor, help others. And then you're going to grow as well. You're going to become a river. Okay? So I really want you to coach, mentor, train, help others. Okay? Don't stay comfortable. Oh, I'm a PMP. Thank goodness I got to dry land. I'm one of the crabs out of the barrel. I'll leave the others to their fate. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Number 12. Sow seeds of knowledge. Invest time in developing others. Share best practices and lessons learned. It goes back to mentoring and coaching. You find a new junior project manager, help them, lift them up, show them what you know. Show them what you know. Number 13, I've already talked about your network, right? Show me your network. Probably have an idea about your net worth. So build relationships with other PMs, exchange knowledge and opportunities, and just remember what I told you about the Stanford Research Institute. Their work is very clear. If you want to fly higher, get connected. Want to fly higher, know more people. Give value to people. It's very interesting how life sometimes reveals the dynamic of relationships in a more profound way than ever before. Like my mentor, who got me certified by giving me all her books, all her materials and stuff, which I passed on to other family members, by the way. I eventually did return them when we all got certified. But I realized that When you give, you get back. So my mentor just very recently retired. She was in a job for 15 years. 15 years. Great job, great bonuses. How did she get the job? You may ask. She got the job as a result of someone's passing the job on to her. Who was that person? It was me. I said, hey, I think this would be a good one for you. Sure enough, it was. She was in the job for 15 years. As she gave to me, she benefited when I was in a position to get jobs like that. Just 2 years before that, no one would have ever given me the time of day. You ain't a PMP. I'm going to send you this job. But they sent me the job because I was a PMP and a master scheduler, just like her. And it so happened I couldn't take the job. She could. I passed it on, and she was in that job, killing the game, adding value to that firm, affiliated with Boeing. Great job, great bonuses, 15 years, all because she sowed a nugget in my life to get certified. You just never know who you might be mentoring. You might be mentoring and coaching the person who is going to help you get to the next level. Think about it. When you sit on your knowledge and your prowess and you don't share it, you could be doing yourself in. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I could give you example after example. I've shown you a few of the books, right, that I have here. This is one of the books. It's called Artificial Intelligence for Project Managers. Do you know what galvanized me writing this book? It was someone I mentored and coached. Let's take a look at another book. This one, Scrum Mastery. Do you know what ignited this book? Scrum Masters I was mentoring and coaching. And I could go on and on and on. But what galvanized a lot of my success was people I coached. They gave back to me, sometimes unknowingly. They would just say things and like, oh my goodness, what a great idea. And I would seize it. And it would be value to me, all because I've been mentored and coaching them. You hear me talk about my buddy Daryl, and you see him on the channel. And if not for Daryl, I would not be in the world of AI. I talk about my buddy Ed. And if not for Ed, I wouldn't be writing a number of the books. I'm writing 2 books currently as a result of his influence. He didn't even know when he sowed that nugget. So you just never know the people you're mentoring, the people you are meant to mentor. You just never know how instrumental they will be to your success. Okay, think about that. Think about that. All right. I'm sharing with you 21 steps to growth after your PMP. Number 14, I've already talked about this. Volunteer with PMI, engage in volunteer activities, give back to the community, right? Leverage volunteer opportunities to expand your network. Number 15, foster a culture of learning. Encourage continuous learning within your team. Promote a growth mindset and ongoing development. For those of you who have not been to projectmanagement.com, I need you to go there. I want you to go look at all the webinars. PMI, they do their best. Now, I know a lot of people say PMI is all about the money. Well, PMI is trying their best to offer some more value. I'm looking forward to them doing more, but right now they're already doing a great job with the webinars, and you can listen to people in your domain, whether in healthcare, you're in engineering, pharmaceutical, whatever you're in, there are webinars in the repository at projectmanagement.com. And you know what happens when you watch those? You get PDUs for free. If you're a member of the PMI, these are often claimed for you, and you don't need to do anything other than just attend. So I want to encourage you to foster a culture of learning. Projectmanagement.com is a great one. Leadershipstreet.com is also a great one. Make sure you attend the seminars of Rick Brinkman, the PM360 that we also have up there, and there are many more. Number 4, section 4, practical steps for growth. You got to start where you are. So I've already given you a minute with Maxwell. I've given you John Maxwell's 360-degree leader, John Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership. I've told you to go look at those. I've also told you about Rick Brinkman, and I've told you about leadershipstreet.com. And right here, as we're talking, the ticker tape below, right there, life after the PMP exam. If you are serious about self-development, you want to grow your mindset to the next level, you want to learn leadership, you want to be proficient, profound in your leadership, come on the program. Let's work together. Come and learn how to be a real success. Relationships, equipping others, having a positive mental attitude, and leadership. That's what makes you be a real success. It's a play on words, REAL, relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. And that's what we learn in addition to life after the PMP exam. And we learn that right there at leadershipavenue.com. Leadershipstreet.com is pre-records, things from other seminars in the past. Leadershipavenue.com is for what is coming down the pike in August and September and beyond. Okay, so check that out. All right, so start where you are. Maybe you just got certified. No, just start where you are. Go to Minute with Maxwell, start learning. Endeavor to be in my next leadership program, Leadership Avenue, right? Go there, sign up. Find productive activities that advance your career. Look for opportunities within your current organization or community. For those of you who are not PMPs yet, and you might just be watching, go on down to 360.pmradio.org and you can sign up for our next PMP 360 seminar. Let me put that in the chat for those of you, because I know some of you are curious, because I said this is for PMPs. And I know that curiosity drew you to watch this. So go to PMRadio 360.pmradio.org for the next PMP 360. It's coming up in the next few days, right? And this is going to help you get good with your PMP. Those of you who might be struggling alone, like I was, it will help you. All right. So start where you are. This is me talking to my PMP graduates all around the world, wherever you are. Leverage nonprofit opportunities. Oh my goodness, my dear friends who have found it difficult. Trust me, I am right with you. If you're looking for a job right now, you've been unable to find employment. I know how hard it is. I have been without a job for 9 months, twice in my career. Think about that. No job for 9 hard months. There was a time I was so depressed, I was thinking, I'm out of my mind at this point. I feel like I'm caged in a jail cell, mental jail. And this was before I got certified for the first 9-month stint without a job. The second 9-month stint without a job, I took the law into my hands and I became a registered education provider of the PMI through my company, Praizion. And I said, I ain't waiting for no one no more. I'm going to go out and start helping people. And that's what I did. And it was hard. 9 months without a job. With a newborn, if I might add, in need of insurance and diaper money. It's not funny. But that happened to me. And what did I do? I reinvented myself. I want you to reinvent yourself. I want you to become a beast, a force of nature that stops at nothing to find a way forward. Unrelenting, unashamed, bold, a beast. Some of you ain't beasts yet. I want you to be a beast. I want you to take no prisoners. Some of you are scared. Don't be scared. Be resolute. You don't have a job right now. You know what I want you to do? I want you to make up your mind that you will daily apply for no more than 5 positions daily. You cannot afford to lie down and say, I'm tired of applying. So, step one, mentality, beast, mental, beast, unrelenting, pounding that pavement daily. That's step one. It's in the mindset. And you got to be expectant to know that it is going to come to you. I don't care whether you've been 9 months like I am, 1 year, don't give up. You cannot afford to. It is free to not give up. So why do you want to give up? You got to be a beast. Unrelenting beast. So what you're going to do is daily apply for 5 positions. It is going to build your confidence. And when you get the opportunity to interview, as I did a number of times, you're going to go for the interview and you're going to say, thank you for the interview because it tests my prowess and it helps me. So you got to get in the right mental state. When you're in that right mental state of, I'm grateful for any interview I get because it's going to test me and help me. You're not even at that point looking to get every single one, but you're looking for the exercise. The next thing I want you to do, join PMI, your local chapter. Be useful. It is going to help you. PMI, they've really thought this stuff through. The fact that we have chapters is just awesome. It excites me that you're not alone. You go to your local chapter. Those of you looking for work, have you been to your local chapter? Some of you ain't been to your local chapter. You ain't told to anyone in the local chapter. That's not how to do it. It's the PMI family. So you got to be more aggressive. Okay? You got to be beastly in your mindset. You got to be aggressive. And when I say be a beast, unrelenting and maximum conviction of who you are. You're special, except you feel like your PMP was given to you out of pity. Or did you work for it? If you worked for it, I want you to beast up. Then, as you do this on the regular, I want you, watch this, this is important. I need you to have the intellect, the knowledge, the skills, the tools in your gig bag. So when you get that job, you're going to bring it home. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't know if I can do this job. No, you're going to feel confident because you have the skills. Remember what I told you in the beginning? Scope, schedule, cost, risk. Stakeholder and communications is a given. You know, the problem is some people, when they get into the interview, they either talk too much or talk too little. You know why that happens? Because they are not observing non-verbal cues of the interviewer. Through body language, you should be able to interpret, should I shut up? Should I speak more? The body language, the facial expressions, they'll tell you. Under most circumstances, body language trumps everything else. Trumps the words, trumps the tone of voice. Oh, I'm really excited that you're here. You're not excited. Your body language is saying something else. Oh, yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Well, your words say something, but your body language says something else. But if you're in an interview and you're very observant, you will know when to keep going and when to shut up. Some people bomb the interview because they're not confident. Their body language shows they're not sure. It shows that they're hiding something. And even on camera, you got to come correct. You got to practice these things. I have videos on the Praision channel where I talk about interviews. So if you're gone for a job without any traction for a while, you're searching, don't give up. Use this as prep time. Because when uptime comes, it's going to be too late to prepare. So now's the time to prepare. 5 jobs a day. Do you know the portals that I want you to hit? I want you to hit monster.com. And hey, I don't want you to tell me, Phil, I can't do this kind of job. Let them figure that out. Let them figure that out for themselves. Don't come crying to me, oh, I can't do an engineering job. I can't do an IT job. A lot of you complain a lot about IT. Well, that's what's available. Go for it. What could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen? You know, the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing that could happen is you get the job. Because some of you don't think you can do it. What if you get the job? You go study. That's what you do. I know a lot of you might think this Phil is a mean person. He's telling me to go do a job that I ain't done before. Well, I'm telling you to do what I did. I remember when I got into one job interview and I had it. I'd gone for 9 months without a job. I finally get into the interview. I am on steroids as far as can do. And they're asking me, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you? And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do anything it takes. You know, the great Les Brown, he said, you got to be hungry. I was hungry. And when they asked me the question, can you do this? Can you do that? Yes, I will do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can study it. I will do it. I was hungry. And I got the job. And that was how I ended up meeting my mentor, Mary. I'm so glad I had a can-do attitude. You got to have a can-do attitude. You got to be a beast. Take no prisoners. No namby-pamby. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. No. Except you think PMI was high on drugs when they said, oh, you're a PMP. If you truly believe you deserve your PMP, I need you to be a beast. And I need you to go make corrections where you might have had a weak, poor mindset, but get beastly and start pounding the pavement, like I did. I'm not telling you to do something I didn't do. What I did is going to give. But use this as prep time, okay? My heart goes out to you. I know people who have been looking for work for a while, but don't give up. Change is going to come, but you got to prepare. And then you got to network. I want you to start going to your local chapter. Do it. It's going to help you. It's going to help your mindset. It's going to give you some hope. So what are the websites? I want you to go to monster.com, put up a resume, pound the pavement daily. You know what I would do? I would daily go to monster.com and make a little tweak to my resume just so it would be one of the relevant ones. I want you to go to indeed.com. I want you to put up a resume. Please do this. And then police the resume and then have notifications. I want you to go to dice.com and I want you to do the same. And I want you to apply for 5 jobs daily in project management, in management. Even if you feel, well, this is way beyond me, use the interview as leverage. Some of you don't understand the power of the interview. Oh my goodness. So one of the interviews I went for was at Motorola. And the interview wasn't successful. I was told, oh, okay, thank you. You don't get this. And now the person that I interviewed with, according to my recruiter said, oh, they really liked you, but they didn't feel you had the skills to do this particular job in hardware. They felt you would be better suited for software. Okay. But there ain't no software job. So I went back to what I was doing, not very happy, not very pleased. And then about 2 months later, I get a call out of nowhere. Hey, remember such and such you interviewed with? Well, they introduced your resume to their coworker who is an IT PMO. They want you to come for an interview. Out of nowhere. Ended up working at Motorola as a program manager in the PMO, working on a divestiture. Out of nowhere, from an interview that I had already discredited. Never say never. I have learned a lot in my career, and one thing is to never discredit anyone or anything. It's a huge rule. So what I'm sharing with you, my friends, is from experience. It is not from any book. I've realized if you are a beast, you got to be a maniac. You got to say, I can do it. Even in the face of adversity, I can do it. Bring it on. Because it's in the mindset. You need to have the mindset that you're going to work and work and work smart and hard, and you're going to get it done, and you're going to be the very best. Do you really believe you are the best version of yourself? I know you expected me to say, do you believe you're the best? No. That's not the question. That's not the question. Do you believe you are the best version of you incorporated? Do you or do you not? If you don't believe you are the best, you got to go do something else beyond the test, beyond PMP. Okay. But for those of you that are looking for work, I want to encourage you, this is not the end. So I want you to leverage the power of your PMI local chapter. I want you to submit 5 jobs daily. I want you to pound the pavement, and I want you to be a beast. Be a beast. And I want you to use your volunteer work to develop new skills and connections. Number 18, network effectively. I've talked about networking quite a lot. You got to attend networking events and conferences, just like the one at the ticker tape below. This is to help you. It will take you levels above. You'll meet people and you'll get great. Honestly, some of the best things I've done is as a result of people I have met in this journey. I remember going for OPM3 training. Some of you don't know what that is because PMI doesn't offer it anymore. But OPM3 just means Organizational Project Management Maturity Model. And there was an entire exam and framework about it. And it just helps you to assess organizational project management maturity, like 3 exams in one. But anyway, when I went for training up in Colorado, I met a couple of guys, Colin and Tim. And 3 of us were in that class. And it's a very expensive endeavor. I think the entire thing probably cost about 3K or more, not to mention travel and so on, which will take it to 5 grand. But I met Colin and Tim in that class. What ensued is Colin and Tim became allies, associates. We would train Microsoft Project to organizations, advanced Microsoft Project to organizations. And it was as a result of networking through all of this. So I want you to understand that networking determines a lot in this career. I've also told you about my buddy Roy and Rick Brinkman and John Maxwell. And honestly, that is how you network. You got to network with intentionality. You got to build meaningful relationships with peers in the industry. Number 19, trade knowledge and opportunities. Collaborate with mentors and peers to share jobs and resources. You got to be actively doing this. It's like being a river all over again. Use your network to find new opportunities. I told you the story about Mary and me. I wouldn't be where I am without her. She just finished a 15-year stint as a result of our connection. Number 20, adapt to changes. Stay flexible and adaptable in your career. Be prepared to pivot and take on new challenges. So, I mean, I could have been one of those people who said, well, I don't want to do anything else but work at Honeywell. I'm not happy that I can't be here forever. Well, no, I understood I needed to pivot. So when I left Honeywell, because I was a consultant, and after 2 years, that's it, you have to go. You could come back later, but you got to take a hiatus. So I left and I ended up at Motorola, and then I worked in a number of other places, and I found myself in my dream job. My dream job was in a gaming company making video games. World of Warcraft, those of you folks who like those multi online player games, I was in a company that was building a game like that. It wasn't World of Warcraft, but it was built after the Stargate franchise. I love that job because it combined my creativity and my technicality, and it was just a job made in heaven. I was really excited about that job, and I thought the job would never end until one day the brake screeched. The record player came to a screeching halt. And my CEO said, "Hey, Phil, come to my office. I'd like to have a discussion with you." This was around the time when the economy tanked in 09, 08, 09, that horrible slump. Long story short, my CEO said, "Phil, it's your last day. Go to your office, pack your stuff by 5 p.m. We want you out." What? I have a 2 months old. Are you kidding me? You just like that? Well, wouldn't it be nice, Phil, if everyone had advance notice when they've been asked to go? Is what he said. Wow, that was savage. That was That was I was about saying, my goodness, that's the devil. It's the devil. But it wasn't the devil. It was actually a blessing. Huge blessing. Huge. I'm saying this for someone. Someone needs to know that you losing the job is actually a blessing because you're going to get a better one. You're going to find yourself in a place that you deserve to be because you're worth more. You have more to offer the world. So when I was kicked out of that job, I thought, woe is me. And that was another 9 month stint without work. But you know what good came out of it? I started looking introspectively and I said, what am I going to do? One of my mentors, Paul Martinelli, back in the John Maxwell team, back in the day, he would say, jump out of the window, off the ledge, and grow your wings on the way down. And that's what I did. Became an REP of the PMI, started training and coaching as much as I could, but I didn't get a gig for almost 9 months. I got my first gig in New Jersey. Very excited. Shout out to Fiserv, my first client of life training. I trained them in risk management. A shout out to Info Global Solutions, one of my early day clients. And that was it. The rest, it became, so they say a rolling stone gathers no moss, but talk about a stone that gathered moss. That was me, thrown out of the building. But I gathered moss and became a huge, huge pile of hay in a matter of months. So I went 9 months without a job, but I got my first client, Fiserv. And after that, it was SSAI, Info Global Solutions, and one after the other, SHIP, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, lots of other great companies, some affiliated with Chevron. The FBI ended up being a client, the US Air Force, the US Army Corps of Engineers. I spent a whole week with the US Air Force out in Mildenhall in the United Kingdom, training them on what? Can you guess? PMP. PMP. Spent a whole week, Fort Lee, training my men and women in uniform friends out there. What did I train them on? PMP. PMP. NASA and the FBI. What did I train them on? PMP. Jim Beam. Whiskey people. What did I train them on? Project management. Lush Cosmetics. What did I train them on? Project management. And the list goes on and on. Right? The Department of Commerce, right there in DC. What did I train them on? Project management, leadership. So I want to encourage you, my friends. The way I was kicked out of the building and I reinvented myself and became so instrumental to many of these firms, it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't kicked out of the building. Sometimes you got to be kicked out of the building. You grow your wings on the way down. You reinvent yourself. You become more valuable. So for those of you that have lost hope, I'm hoping that this broadcast has given you some hope. I am hoping that you take things to the next level. But you got to adapt to change. You got to stay flexible and you got to be prepared to pivot. Some of you don't want to pivot. Oh, but I want to stay in healthcare. I've always been in healthcare. I don't want to go to IT. You don't want to go to IT. What if IT is the next big thing for you? Like me, I don't want to be kicked out of the building. I want to keep building this video game. I like it. There's bigger fish to fry. You just need to meet the fish. You just need to meet the fish. You better learn how to swim, though. You better learn how to swim. Oh, my goodness. All right, my friends, we're almost rounding up for today. Number 21, apply the KGS formula. What is the KGS formula? The KGS formula, I coined this. John Maxwell wrote the book, How to Be a Real Success. And he talks about 3 things. But being a project manager, trust the project manager to have to put a PM spin on it. There are 3 things. Number 1, you got a K Number 2, you got a G. And lastly, you got an S. What does that mean? You got to know your purpose in life. Please know your purpose in life. Please have a goal. Please have a long range vision. Please have a definite chief aim. Some of you are not aware why you're here. You're like, oh, I guess I'm just living life day by day for the paycheck. No, I beg to differ. Know your purpose in life. Someone said, Phil, I've been trying to work on that for the past 30 years. Start somewhere. Start somewhere. One of the most comedic things that you can do, ask GPT. Get your resume, give it to GPT and say, GPT, what is my purpose in life? And I'm not joking. You just have to have a target. Please have a target. Because if you don't have a target, you're just going through life, and you got no clue why you're here, and you're just living for the day. And that is the most miserable life to live. Just having no purpose, no direction. Come on now. When I was 10, I had direction. I said I wanted to be a musician. Well, seems like it worked out. I became a musician. I've got 4 albums, 20 singles, still working in the studio. But beyond that, I want to help people, which is why I'm here, yelling like a crazy person, because I want you to achieve greatness. And greatness is different for a lot of people. You don't have to be a world name, but you have to be the best version of yourself. And to be the best version of yourself, you got to be ready for sacrifices. Studying Beyond PMP, joining your local chapter, mentoring and coaching people. I've given you a lot of to-dos. You got to do them. Then you got to grow. You got to grow. Keep growing. You never stop growing. The moment you stop growing, that's when you're 6 feet under. A lot of people didn't get the memo. They're like, I want to retire and do nothing. Well, no, you shouldn't think like that. You should keep growing. Keep building the knowledge. Keep adding knowledge to your repository, to your banks. Right? Finally, this is the one a lot of people struggle with. Sow seeds that benefit others. How about you begin with this one? Get the link to this video. It's free. They only buy nothing. I need you to sow a seed. I'm sounding like a preacher. I'm sounding like a preacher. But I need you to sow a seed by taking this link and sharing it with another PMP. How about that? Do you know the amount of energy you're going to create when you do that? I want you to take this video link and post it on your social media. Post it on LinkedIn, post it on your YouTube, post it on Instagram, post it on Twitter, post it on TikTok, post it everywhere. Snapchat, I don't care. Post your buddy Phil, because I want you to help others who need to hear this message. You get what I'm saying? Okay. I know I'm going a mile a minute, but I need you to do this to help people. Oh dear, it seems like your buddy Phil is in high demand. Well, it comes at a very timely point, because this is where we are going to ask our final, do you have any questions? Because we are at the end. Here's the conclusion. You got to be a beast. All right, that's number 1. Be a beast. Be a beast. Be a beast. Be a beast. Don't be docile. I need you to be beastly, like in mindset. The beast has no fear. Very recently, I went up to a place where we call Bearizona. I met a bunch of bears. They ain't scared. They don't care who you are. It's their domain. I met a bunch of bears. I'm going to be posting some videos soon. Very impressive. But beasts don't care. They don't care who you are. They're not scared. I need to be a beast. Okay. The key points that I've raised here is the KGS: know your purpose in life, grow to your maximum potential, and sow seeds. You got to be a student of the world of PM, right? Our friend Obadere was asking, since I've been in PM, it seems like it's wide. And I'm like, yeah, you believe it. So you got to be mentored and coached, and you also need to mentor and coach others. Last but not least is Q&A. Are there any final questions? Anything that you would like your buddy Phil to go into? If there's nothing else, I'll just say, do not miss the Leaders Club. I want you to go on down to leadershipavenue.com. And I want you, just like you see in the ticker tape below, to consider treating yourself to expansion, treating yourself to growth. You may be your most expensive asset, but you're also your most expansive asset. You got to grow. You got to grow. And one of the ways to grow is to attend seminars that can help you, such as the one below. All right, my friends, your buddy Phil here, showing up to help, to inspire, to encourage. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the very best as you go through this trajectory of excellence in your PM journey. I've been at it for over 2 decades, and I tell you, I don't regret it one bit. I'll do it all over again and over again and over again. Thank you for joining me. I wish you all the very best. If you're looking for employment, be a beast. Don't shirk. Don't give up. If you are a business owner in disguise and you're sitting down there saying, well, I guess I'll get into business tomorrow. Hey, go to pmanonymous.com. PM Anonymous. I think you need some training and coaching from your buddy Phil, because you need to be starting your own business. And what are you doing sitting down there when your business should have started like eons ago? All right, my friends, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you again. Like I said, I am going to endeavor to do these a lot more. And hopefully, I'll see you again very soon. Don't forget to do what I asked. I want you to share this link with as many PMPs as possible so that they get some hope. It's only fair, right? So that they get some hope and so that they can expand. Thank you. I'll see you again, hopefully very soon.